then the counter to it is, can your body actually absorb the food? And the sugar and all the processed stuff and all the dyes and things are destroying your gut health. So now you can't even absorb the good stuff that's in the cereal because it's all just passing through and not working because you're so inflamed because all the other stuff.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Fitness Show, episode 53. We record this show in the morning, which means it's the worst possible time to eat cereal, according to Kellogg's CEO. We are going to speak about this ridiculous statement by the CEO of Kellogg's, and we're actually going to take a deep dive into cereal for dinner. Now, how has your head not exploded like mine did when I read this, Mike? And I saw, he actually said it, so it wasn't even a misquote. We live in a clown world. My co-host, who's not a clown, is my parents.
I can be a clown sometimes, but yeah, man, it was interesting to say the least when I saw that, and you texted me about it, and then I did some background and looking into it, and it's just very interesting to see this idea that cereal, and I get it, like, but when we're going to talk about cereal, talk about some of the stuff with it. But really, like, for those of you who don't know, by the time this episode airs, you should have probably heard about it. But there was Kellogg CEO got on a thing on CNBC or something like that, and talked about how they're doing a big push to try to get people to eat cereal for breakfast or cereal for dinner. Right. And they literally have an ad with Tony the Tiger talking about cereal for dinner, and there's a family sitting at the table with cereal for dinner, and it's so crazy to me to think about this idea. Not that, like, you eat whatever you want, go ahead, eat whatever you want to eat whenever you want to eat it doesn't matter, I don't care, like, but the articles and the conversation around this idea of cereal being a good option for dinner because of the financial state of the world that we live in, and with inflation the way it is and all the things going on where you got to stretch the dollar. And so the Kellogg company thinks, well, we're doing people a favor by helping them save money for dinner. Have you seen the price of a box of cereal lately? I mean,
yeah, they act like they never raised the prices either. It's like $6 for some of this garbage, Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a crazy idea. And so to have the CEO of Kellogg come on a show and promote it. It even caught the guy doing the interview. Did you watch the interview?
Yeah,
the little
I
clip?
did. And this is they're financial, but they lean left and liberal and make a lot of excuses on CNBC.
Sure. Yeah.
Not this time.
No.
Like, what?
Don't you think that's going to land wrong is what he said? And I just thought it was so telling of how just crazy the idea of cereal for breakfast is, or not cereal for breakfast, cereal for dinner is, because
we don't think cereal is good on any meal, by the way. It's,
point.
Maybe a cheat meal if that's all it is, but
yeah,
my goodness. He didn't say, he said, this is going to land super right. As a matter of fact, he doubled down. That dude gave him an out and he didn't take it.
Yeah, it's interesting. They gave a statistic of that 25% of the cereal consumption they have is outside of breakfast. And okay, fine, whatever. Like, and the Kellogg dude, he has to sell cereal. I get it. Why would he ever go on and dog his own product? Fine. I understand that. Like, it's, you're just not going to bury your own brand and bury your own stuff because you got to sell it. So I totally understand that. And I'm all for reaching new demographics and reaching out to new parts of business and growing your business. And I can't fault the CEO for doing what he has to do for his business, but the news outlets and the places that are picking up on it and the things like that are picking up on this idea and riding the fence of, you said it when we were talking about this right before we started recording, riding the fence of taking a stand on what's good and what's not for breakfast. And it's just crazy to me how people don't know. Like, there's so many people that still think that cereal is a healthy option. And one of the things that we want to do is kind of show some of the stuff. And for the audio listeners, it would be worth checking out YouTube so you can see it firsthand. But there's,
if they allow it at this point, who knows what's going to happen to this episode?
Yeah, sure.
Got to get the little fact checker up in the top. Don't put it past it.
Sure.
they'll say, no, 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 you're wrong. Cereal is excellent. You
Yeah.
guys have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Sean Baker is probably drinking right about now after he read this. You know?
well, like it's so there was an article on I'm going to bring it up here and show you the Today Show had an article. Is it healthy to eat cereal for dinner? A dietitian explains amid Kellogg CEO
They
controversy.
don't, they're talking like this isn't a rhetorical question.
Yeah, right. And so they bring on a nutritionist, and the nutritionist. This is where I get so frustrated uh, as a person in the fitness industry because it is so ridiculous that nutritionists come on these shows and ride the fence on things and take a gray stand on certain situations. And now I will give the credit if you read the entire article, but here's the problem that I see with these types of articles and these types of shows and what they clip on news and stuff, things like that, is they do it. They set up the article. They ask the question, is it okay to eat cereal for dinner? What does a nutrition expert think about that idea? So they label her as a nutrition expert. And so the selling of the show is, hey, we've got a nutrition expert here to talk about cereal. Well, what does the nutrition expert say? The nutrition expert says there's no rule that says you can't have cereal for dinner. True. There's no rule that says that. That's a soundbite. There's nothing wrong with having cereal for lunch or dinner. So now that's the clip. That's the soundbite. That's the audio piece that's going to replay is there's nothing wrong. And so now if I'm a consumer and I'm watching the Today Show and my short attention span, I'm going to hear expert nutritionist says to me, there's nothing wrong with having cereal for lunch and dinner. And they do talk a little bit more about it and they do go in a little bit deeper, but the average person is going to hear that and be like, oh yeah, it's okay. I can have cereal for lunch and dinner. No problem. And then they'll go and think that they're getting a healthy thing because a nutritionist said it's okay. And that kind of crap just drives me insane. So, but to the credit of the nutritionist, not to bury the nutritionist, I don't even know who it was. I don't even know if they named who it was.
Somebody from the children's, something of Atlanta there. It's,
yeah, where was it?
oh my God.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyway, so they did name it. Where I remember reading
down under the thing right there.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Catherine Sherry, registered dietitian at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So again, another reason why Children's Healthcare saying that there's nothing wrong with cereal. That's a big frustration there because there's a lot of issues with cereals. And so she does go on to say that look for cereal that's 100% whole grain, contains at least 3 grams of fiber, all that kind of stuff. Think shredded wheat and bran flakes because those are somehow great. That's not the ones that people are eating. Healthier options with 6 grams of sugar or less. But
I'm
it's
going to
not
stop
just
you right there.
Yeah.
This person writes a book. This is a New York author of Finally Full, Finally Slim. If there's ever a less filling food, it's cereal. And for people that don't know, we said it before, we're going to look at the servings. A bowl of cereal is technically 4 or 5, maybe 6 bowls of cereal as far as servings are concerned.
Yeah.
These people, man, it's the same people that don't see that the sugar lobbyists and everything throughout the years and decades, push sugar and not healthy fats and proteins and all that stuff. So I wonder how cereal, I'm going to go full theory mode with now this is going to battle climate change, I'm sure, at the same time.
Well, sure. But I will give her some credit because she does say when we talk about eating healthy or health and eating, it's not particular one meal or one particular food. It's looking at the entire day. But the last part that I don't like is that cereal can fit into that. It could, I suppose you could, but is it the best option? Is it the healthiest option? No, it's not. And so she does say, what are we having in addition to that cereal to fuel our bodies? So if you want to have a cheat meal, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, have a cheat meal. And cereal can be a cheat meal, but it's a cheat meal. It's not a daily meal, right? And so pushing cereal as dinner is just crazy. And so you brought up the nutrition label.
But let me say this too about this. You just said it, and I think the most important part is nobody's reading that far down in the article. That's why literally why the world is the way it is right now, because headlines, subtext under the headlines, first small paragraph, we're done. Move on. Yeah. It's the Instagram reel, YouTube short dilemma in text.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Nobody reads articles anymore. People read headlines and that's it. And they got their answer with that thing you highlighted. It's okay. There's no rule against it. Number one, reinforcement enabling right there. The number two one that does it, it's okay to eat cereal for dinner. I'm done.
Yeah.
Time to
Yeah.
time to make some cereal. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's all I needed. That's all I needed.
Ah,
So let's take a look at a nutrition label real quick. And so this is just a what you would assume is like a cornflakes. This is just a simple, no sugar, no whatever. It's not frosted cornflakes. It's just cornflakes. And so this nutrition label, it's and this is where a lot of things people don't pay attention to it. And so if you take nothing away from this conversation other than this, it's you need to read your nutrition labels. You absolutely need to read the nutrition labels and take a look at what's on the box and really pay attention to it and make note of what you're actually getting. So when you look at this cornflakes one, serving size is a cup and a half of cornflakes. When was the last time like you had a cup and a half of cereal and that was all you ate? Like if you're having cereal, you're eating like 7 cups of cereal. At least that's what I do, right? And
I'm gonna go get one of those cups to show people what it looks like.
All right, that's a good idea. But I mean, when was the last time that you actually had that? So when you break this down, a cup and a half is the serving that you're working with here, but you're probably going to have at least twice that. So just that cup and a half, you're talking 36 grams of carbohydrates. That's just carbohydrates with no added sugar. So if we go based on the article with the less than 6 grams of sugar that they said, this definitely has less than 6 grams of sugar per serving, but you're not going to have just one serving. So making sure that you're reading this and seeing 36 grams of carbohydrates by itself isn't bad, but more than likely those 2 and 3 servings that you're going to have, now you're talking closer to 100 grams of carbohydrates for a bowl of cereal. That's not going to fill you up. That's going to make you hungry in 5 seconds. So let me pull your screen back up a little better. You can
That's
see
a
that.
cup.
That's a cup.
That's a cup.
One cup.
It has one right there. You can see the one next to me. That is a cup.
Yeah.
So a half is this. And how many bowls are this size? How many bowls?
I have the little kids bowls from IKEA for my kids that are bigger than that. You know, they're like a 2-cup bowl.
Yeah.
And that's what my kids eat.
That's a cup.
Yeah.
Sorry to mess up everybody's life with that, but
yeah. But I mean, so that's just the nutrition facts of cornflakes. And when you look at it, it's 36 grams of carbs, only 4 grams of sugar. But now let's look at one that most people will eat and what people are going to think in their minds, because they're going to see, oh, all cereal's good then because they said cereal was fine. So if we look at Fruit Loops, so this is just Fruit Loops. This isn't even the ones with all the marshmallows and all that kind of stuff. This is just Fruit Loops. The carbohydrates, somehow it's still only 34 grams of carbohydrates per serving. Serving size is a cup and a half, but now we're talking 12 grams of sugar per serving. And you're probably having a minimum of 2 servings. More likely, you're going to have 3 to 4 servings if you're eating it for supper because you want a substantial meal that you're going to have, and you're not going to feel full afterwards. So now you're looking at 36 grams of sugar for your supper. And now it's just crazy the amount of carbohydrates that can be consumed in cereal. And the idea of eating cereal ever is not great. Daily, certainly not good. But it did now make it your supper and your breakfast. It's just maddening to me. I don't get it.
well, I'll say this, and people will be like, well, I like cereal. That tastes better. But, people can have breakfast for dinner if they want, but you go out, you buy 30 eggs from Target, which is not the cheapest place. You can go to Aldi. The cheapest place might be Aldi or Sam's Club, BJ's, Costco. You go to Target, we get 30 eggs for maybe between $3 to $4. Okay.
Wow.
So the bowl of cereal, it might be a little more than that, but let's call it $5. Let's go to the high end. $5 for 30 eggs at Target, just regular, not extra large, regular large eggs. So $5 for those. You're talking about a box of cereal is $6, right? And now they up the serving to a 1.5 cups, which means they've already engaged in the shrinkflation with inflation of the servings. So say $5 for eggs, 30 eggs, you eat 3 eggs, and there's 4 people that eat, eggs.
Yeah.
Then you go and you buy some bread, which is also super expensive. So you got eggs, you can have toast, you can have some egg sandwiches or whatever you want. So bread right now, even the cheapest one is probably $3, maybe
Mhm.
four. Let's call it four. $9. How many meals can you get out of 30 eggs? Even as, especially as a single person, 30 eggs and a loaf of bread.
Mhm.
There's your dinner. Three to
Mhm.
four eggs. So say it's an even 5 eggs for a meal. You
Yeah.
get 6 meals and you probably get more than six out of the loaf of bread
Yeah.
for $9, $10 at the most.
Right.
So the ball of cereal is, or the cereal is $6 for the box. Then you go out and buy almond milk or regular milk, which is what, $3 to $4 now
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
half gallon, not even
Yeah.
a full gallon. So
Yeah.
for the $10, you're not getting any protein. You're not getting filled up. You're not getting healthy fats. You're not even, you want to get whole grain bread, get whole grain bread. There's your 100% whole grain. Or like our wives do, and we do, we make our own bread. Four
Right.
ingredients, maybe 25 cents per loaf.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, this is no, the dietitian said, I mean, you're a certified nutritionist. I guess
Yeah.
you're agreeing with these supposed experts and authors.
No.
Fuck. Excuse my language. We're gonna put the
Yeah, definitely
explicit
not,
tag.
man. Definitely not. Like it's so like I pulled it up and so this is a family size box of Fruit Loops. It's $5, 4.99 at Walmart. And so it's one of the probably one of the cheaper places you're going to get. This is for 16 ounces of cereal, and that's 12 servings per box, and so it's 12 servings, but you're having 3 to 4 as an adult, as a grown man. You're having in 3 to 4 servings per thing, so you're spending $5 for essentially 3 meals. That aren't even going to fill you up, then they're going to make you want to eat more and more and more and more. And so it's just not like I can see where they're coming from when they're talking about this headline that I saw here on the Guardian. This was I just did a quick Google search on
Yeah.
this whole thing. Let them eat flakes. Kellogg CEO says
Oh yeah,
poor
you're gonna
families.
cause the French Revolution with this type of stuff. I agree. I well, I want to say real quick too that the sugar in the cereals is only the beginning
Yeah,
because the even almond milk is going to have that. Regular milk has sugar,
sure.
and other things. And then what do people do? It's still not sweet enough. I'm going to put some
Right,
sugar on top.
right,
You can
right.
get 100 grams of sugar
Yeah,
easy in a
yeah.
bowl of cereal.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And it's just one of those things that as you're listening to this and we can have some fun and bag on this big time because it is definitely worth burying and bagging on it. But the truth is for your health, cereal is not a good option anytime. I mean, if you want to have a treat meal and you want to have a snack, okay, fine. But it should not be a consistent staple in your diet because it's just specifically the sugary ones. I mean, you could try to argue with me about the no sugar cereals. Fine. Okay, fine. I won't fight you to the death on it because it is what it is. But the truth is it's not going to be the best option for you. There's so many better options for breakfast. I'd rather you eat freaking oatmeal if you want the
And it's
carbohydrates. That's going to be
cheaper.
more, it's cheaper. It's going to be more filling. It's going to keep you full longer. It's going to be about the same amount of carbohydrates. You can add fruit to it. You can add some sugar if you need the sugar, but you're in control of it that way. And so that's going to be a better option for breakfast. I mean, oatmeal for dinner. Go ahead. Fine. I eat breakfast for dinner all the time.
I'm doing
At
it
my house.
today. Today is
Yeah.
today is a shake, then lunch, then I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna have eggs with some more meat and stuff for dinner. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
No, nope, not at
Can
all.
you
So
can
there's so many other options, and cereals. Just try to stay away from cereal if you can. I mean, even on a budget, there's still so many better things. I mean, we've done a budget episode in the past about budget meals and eating healthy on a budget. Eggs, eggs, oatmeal, eggs and oatmeal every day. You could have that. Yeah, and you can spice it up and change it every day. You can put salt on your eggs one day, no salt the next day, get some seasoning on the eggs the next day. Like there's so many different things that you can do
yeah,
and so many different ways to cook eggs that you can have so many better options. Even if you're poor, you can have so many better options than cereal.
sure. Can you do
Yeah.
me a favor? Can you bring I think there's an even more egregious part of the nutrition label. It's
So,
not the macros. It's
oh,
the ingredients down there.
ingredients.
So even if it's a sugar free, It's probably got sucralose, aspartame. It's got something in it worse than actually real sugar. So I would say
So this
there's
is
a
Fruit
lot.
Loops. Here's a
Red dye 40 banned everywhere
yellow
but
5,
America.
yellow
All the
6, blue 1.
What's BHT for freshness? That's a preservative,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Here we go.
BHT for freshness. Let's look at this. What does that mean? Human made chemical used as a preservative in foods and
And
cosmetics.
cosmetics. Okay. Oh my God. What are the side effects of BHT? What's down there? What are the side effects down a little lower? No, down.
Here we
There you
go.
go.
Yeah, side effects. Long-term exposure to high doses of BHT is toxic in mice and rats, causing liver, thyroid, and kidney problems and affecting lung function and blood coagulation. BHT can act as a tumor promoter in certain situations.
But eat it every day for dinner. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the nutrition labels, these are the kind of things that you really need to start. Like they can sell you up here at the
Seed
top.
oil, vegetable oil, even though they say less than 2%.
Yep. And what they list out when they list out ingredients like this, a little pro tip for anybody who might be new to reading ingredient labels, is usually the one they list is the first one they list is the most prevalent one it's the highest amount of that specific ingredient. And so then that's why like a lot of these end up by saying contains 2% or less of the rest of them. But so the most prevalent ingredient in here is sugar. And then you have whole grain yellow corn flour, enriched flour, whole wheat flour, whole oat flour. And then here's another. Okay, I'm getting real fired up right now. Here's another thing that really pisses me off
that's what I want.
about food labels is, yes, that cereal, that was Fruit Loops that we were just looking at, has whole oat flour in it. So now the food manufacturers can claim all the benefits of oat flour, all the benefits of whole flour, whole oat flour, as being something that's in here and good for you. There's oat fiber in here. So now you can claim all those benefits and put that on the front of the box. But is that really going to give you the amount that you're looking for, right? Like, so whole grains, cool. We want whole grains. There's arguments to be made that those are healthy, but what is the dosage that's in here? Is this actually going to be heart healthy? Like the whole Cheerios things, Cheerios, heart healthy, heart healthy, heart healthy. You hear that all the time, but is it actually? Because the whole grains that are in there are in a dosage so small that it's not going to give you actual benefit. And then the counter to it is, can your body actually absorb the food? And the sugar and all the processed stuff and all the dyes and things are destroying your gut health. So now you can't even absorb the good stuff that's in the cereal because it's all just passing through and not working because you're so inflamed because all the other stuff. So these ingredient labels, man, like I said, if you take nothing away from this episode other than the fact that you need to read your ingredient labels, then we did our job, because it is so important that you look at the ingredients of everything that you're purchasing all the time. And with cereal, you're going to be very, very, very hard pressed to find a good, healthy one at the poor person price.
You know what, that adds pretty disingenuous too, because they make it look like it's the 80s sitcom, like well-to-do upper middle class family. Like they're making it look like it's cool for people with money to do this as well. And we understand. I mean, food is the food and energy inflation is the worst, and the fact that they don't count that as part of the actual inflation numbers is really disingenuous. But we understand that. But it's still cheaper to shop for your food at the supermarket, as long as you find the right ones, like an Aldi or something like that, or a farmer's market that's local. They're usually right in line with Whole Foods now and all these other places. So, but it's just what they're trying to do. Unlike you, I'm fired up about it because people continue to think that eating fast food is actually still cheaper or now still cheaper and better than cooking at home. I can't even say it because I'm so fired up too.
Yeah.
There's that thing, but we're in the world of $18 Big Macs.
Sure.
And once again, go back to eggs, oatmeal. If you want to buy the bread, which is still not the most healthy way to go, you're still getting a cheaper way to budget your food throughout a week, or even more if you end up dehydrating some fruits and doing stuff like that, or freezing it with the food seal or the vacuum sealers. There's better things to put your money into over time than just buying a box of cereal, a gallon of milk, and calling it a night, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
weird.
and I think one of the ways to counter this argument for breakfast is cereal and cheap options. And, to give some I guess like a marching orders or task list for people that are coming out of listening to this episode and really feeling like, man, what do I do now? Like, okay, don't eat cereal. That's a good way to stay away from it. But like you were just saying, figuring out how to cook some things. And if you still want some bread and you still want some carbs, there's simple recipes that are out there. I made homemade biscuits last night, like carbs are carbs. They're still carbs. And in excess, the carbs are not going to be good for you. But getting good carbohydrates, starting with some good flour, making some homemade biscuits, it's super easy to do. And it's super cost effective to do too. Like I made biscuits. The simple recipe that I used for biscuits was flour, some baking powder, a little bit of salt, and butter, and some
Wait, wait,
water.
wait. No
And
BHT for freshness?
no BHT for freshness. And so I put that in after a couple weeks, whatever. But it's that simple recipe of biscuits can now feed you, and that can feed your family. You can do it for a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier. They're super quick to make. I mean, you just mix them up in a mixer and then you bake them. And there's no rising, there's no letting the dough rise, there's no waiting. It's literally you mix it up, pat out the dough, put it on a baking sheet, bake it in the oven at 425 for 10 minutes, and you've got biscuits. You got fresh homemade biscuits with minimal ingredients that are actually healthy for you, and you're still getting the carbohydrates and you're still getting fuel, but it's more filling, and it's actually going to make you feel full when you get done eating some biscuits, as opposed to just getting a bunch of simple carbs from cereal.
You want to
Yeah.
know what I think? And you can put this at the beginning to clip it.
What's that?
These people are rotten, filthy fucking pigs. That's what I think.
Yes. Yes. Concerns for margin and profits over
You can bleep that
ingredients.
out so we don't get taken down, but
Whatever.
that's what
I
they
don't
are,
care.
man. That's what they are.
Let's leave it in there. I'm fine with it. That's 2 F-bombs in this episode. I'm totally fine with it. We'll leave it.
The first one was just like my brain just
slip.
broke for half a second. I know it didn't slip. Please, people. I mean, I know there's an 85% element that are just going to believe anything that media tells you, anything that these supposed authority figures and people that know better. Steve Jobs had a great saying, and he wasn't a great guy, but
Sure.
a great saying. When it all, I'm paraphrasing it. When it really all comes down to it, these people are no smarter than you or I. They're not. They think they are, but they're not. They're actually, in a lot of ways, dumber. And if they're not dumber, there's an evil element to it because it's cold and calculated. If it's money, like we talked off camera beforehand, we're talking about the wrestling channel, and you were talking about options for content, and you said, can you do A, B, and C? Can you do these things to maybe garner more attention once again, like the John Moxley video did? Can your heart handle that?
Yeah.
And I said, no. I don't even think I hesitated with that, right?
Nope, you didn't.
No, it
Nope.
can. And there's a special place in hell for people that do this kind of stuff.
Sure. Yep. I won't argue that.
That push this kind of propaganda on people.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. You're right. So everybody, we're going to wrap up here. This is going to be a little bit shorter episode this week.
Before the black helicopters show up. Yeah.
Before we get a little too
They're
far
after
down the
me.
rabbit
Don't
hole.
worry about Mike. He's a family man.
No, it's I don't know. But this whole concept, like I said, again, I'll restate it, read your nutrition labels, make sure you know what you're putting in your body. This is literally stuff you're putting in your body. It can change how you feel, how you act, how you behave, your mental health. All this stuff happens with the things that you're putting in your body. So definitely take a look at what you're doing. And if something that is you hear doesn't make sense to you, maybe it's not making sense. Maybe it's that there's a reason behind why it doesn't make sense, or why it sounds a little odd, or why it catches you off guard. So do your own research, dig into it a little bit. If you got questions about any of this stuff, I'd love to do a dive on ingredients, and you can always email us at thebigfitnessshow@gmail.com. Be more than happy to have a dialogue about any of these. If you have any questions, if you see us out in person, you see me out in person, by all means, we love to chat with you about this kind of stuff.
I never leave
And
this place,
yeah,
so
you never
you're
leave
not
the
gonna
house,
see
so
me.
never mind. Fair point. So anyway, for this week's episode of the Big Fitness Show, I am Big Mike Behrens. This is Big Stevie Cool. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you got some value from this, share it with somebody, and we will see you in the next episode.
They're still fucking pigs.